A smallmouth will spawn earlier than a largemouth. Usually the water temperature is between about 58 up to about 61. So they're a lot earlier than the largemouth spawns. So today I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite lures to catch them on, because if you hadn't fished for them whenever they're on bed, you're missing some of the funnest fishing you'll do through the year. And it gets your spring started too, and we all are glad to see that when it comes around. I'm glad you come back down to the shop today. We're going to talk about a subject today that a lot of people like to do. I like to do it. It's a lot of fun. We don't want to relocate them smallmouth. Whenever you catch them, you want to put them right back in. You don't want to take them home or anything, because we just don't do that in the spawning season, okay? But anyway, smallmouth spawn earlier than a largemouth. We all know that. And to catch a smallmouth, you got to know where to go. Now, if you're in a highland reservoir, that's ground zero for some wonderful smallmouth fishing. What you want to do this time of year right now, while the lakes are probably on drawdown, is go on Google Earth and find some places that once you get out there you want to go to. Most of the time the smallmouth will go back to the same places year after year to spawn. So that's a really good way to look at it now, to find where they're at, is on Google Earth. So I want to show you just a couple of my favorite lures today. We're not going to take a lot of time, but these are two that have really produced for me, and I think they will for you too. First one is a tube. That's one of the best lures that you can use, soft plastics, and this is one of my favorite right here. It's a green pumpkin with the chartreuse ends on them, tail on them, and I'm going to show you a little trick. It's nothing nobody didn't know. I mean, I'm gonna give Randy Blockett credit here because he showed everybody, but this is a trick a lot of old timers knew. You want to take and insert them scissors up in that like that, and you'll cut you a slot. Now don't go very far, but that's what you'll have, something just about like that. Now, something else I want to show you is this. An earplug. What you're going to want to do is kind of trim that down. You can kind of see how it's going to be up next to your tube. And this is something everybody knows, but you know, just to help some people maybe that don't know it. And you're going to trim that down just a little bit to get it up in there. Something like that. That's trimmed it down, and you'll take and you'll insert that earplug right up inside of that tube, and you wet it a little bit, and it'll slide right up in there, just like that right there. You'll slide it up in that tube, up in there about as far as you can get it. Something like that. And what you're going to do now, whenever you rig that on an EWG hook, you'll go in, just go to the side of that earplug just a little bit. Of course, in Texas, rig it just like you would. Now that slot that you cut, that helps you get that hook right on the outside of that tube. Just like that. Now, something that I do whenever I'm fishing with a tube, I'll do it with a tungsten, the lightest tungsten weight that I can get on it to Texas rig it. But here's what else I do. The earplug is in there. You want it to float, of course. Well, it's not going to float with that tungsten. So what I'll do, I'll bring that up there about 2 inches, something like that, and I'll take and I'll peg that. I'll take and peg that tungsten where it won't come down no further than that. Just the same old, same thing you do if you were going to peg that the opposite direction. Very same thing. I leave it out just a little bit, kind of like that right there. Okay? And of course I'll take and trim that plug that down where I have done that. And that's what I'll have, because whenever you throw this in there on those beds, what'll happen, it'll fall, and that tungsten weight will be on the bottom, and that'll float up like that right there is what it'll do. And they can't stand that right there. That's something I've done for years, is that right there. It's very simple to rig up, and they can't stand a tube like that. The other one I'll do is a Nico rig. Everybody knows what a Nico rig is, of course. If you don't know what a Nico rig is, this is what happens. You'll get you a nail weight. I like to use a Robo Worm, and it's Morning Dawn. And I'll take and insert that into it. Just like that right there. Insert that nail weight into that right there. Now, what you'll do, you'll take your smaller hook. You'll go through that right up there on the end. Just like that. That's your Nico rig. Now, when you throw it in there, when you see those smallmouth in there, what it'll do, it'll land, and then you're gonna hold your line tight, and it'll stay standing up like that. And they can't stand that either. Both of those techniques, I realize everybody knows about that, but maybe there's some people that don't. That's what we're all about here on the channel. But get on your Google Earth, look for your places where you'll see chunk rock that leads into some little smaller rocks, some pebbles, and pea gravel. And what they like to do, they like to get right up behind those rock where that's finer rock is at. And they'll do it in 58 to about 60, 61 degree water. So that's our video for today. Try this one right here. Try that one right there first. That right there is a killer on those smallmouth, believe me. So, hey, I appreciate your time. I ask for your subscription to the channel, and come on back and we'll do this again. I appreciate you.